Hello, 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 and welcome. I am Shane Moore, and this is, of course, the Texarsis Live podcast. Tonight, we're going to discuss a very important topic that affects so many people. It's a very prevalent problem, and it's very sad. But we're going to flip it. We're not going to focus on the sadness. We're going to focus on the solution. Tonight's topic is about outcasts, misfits, outsiders, those who feel forgotten, unappreciated, and alone. For all the black sheep, this episode is for you. If you want to change your life, if you want to change the path that you're on, you have to realize you first must change your mindset. And your mindset has been created, it has been developed, it has been embedded within your very psyche. So, it has taken years and years and years for that to become embedded within you, to become a part of you. And the solution is not going to happen overnight. I wish it could be that way, but unfortunately it's not. It takes time. Not years and years and years. Not necessarily. But with each day that you change your mindset little by little, you become better and better, and the healing becomes more and more powerful. And before you know it, that mindset of being the outcast and the misfit, of being unaccepted and unloved and alone, will no longer be there. And that's a comforting thought. So, you can join our live chat and take part, and I really, really encourage people to do so. Share your thoughts, your personal experiences, and ask whatever questions you want to ask. I don't claim to have all the answers, and if I don't know the answer or I can't answer your question, I have no problem admitting so. But I will find someone who can answer your question. I promise you that. Tonight's episode is, I'm doing this because I've been there. I've traveled that path. I've traveled that journey. And for those of you who think that life is always, that you're always going to live life as an outcast, as a loner, as an outsider, think again. And if you say that, there's going to be people that are going to say, he can't explain, he can't show you how to come out of this rut, out of this pattern that you're in. My reply to them is, hold my beer. Take a short break and allow listeners who want to join our live chat to do so. And I will be back in 3 minutes. Don't go anywhere.
someone don't help you, when someone don't help you through the rain, when feelings don't matter and everything's nothing but a game. Just know that I'm with you. Just know that I'm with you through it all. And I'm gonna be there whenever you win or if you fall. I know that we will make it through the storm, 'cause you and me been fighters since we were born. It's all over our bodies and hearts. Yeah, you and me been fighters right from the start. Hey, don't you worry. Hey, don't you worry about a thing. You get what you're given, but it's never too late to spread your wings. Oh, I know that we will make it through the storm, 'cause you and me been fighters since we were born. It's all over our bodies and hearts. Yeah, you and me been fighters right from the start. Been fighters right from the start. I see that it's tough now, but trust me, yeah, trust me. I know that we will make it through the storm, 'cause you and me been fighters since we were born. It's all over our bodies and hearts. Yeah, you and me been fighters right from the start. Hey, been fighters right from the start. Been fighters right from the start. Hey, been fighters right from the start. Been fighters right from the start.
And I am back. Hello, Elaine. Welcome. I'm glad you joined me. It's just me right now. So, anyway, I thought this would be a very relevant topic. So many people suffer and just really hurt and pain because of this. They feel that that they're alone. They feel like they're an outcast, that they're a misfit, and truth is that many are nothing more than free thinkers. They think outside the box, and when you're a free thinker, it's unfortunate, but you're not going to be part of the club, because you are not a follower per se. You wear your own kind of hat. You're unique. You were born an original. You're not going to die a cheap copy. And I love that. Because so many people, if you watch people, and I'm a people watcher, not a stalker or anything like that. Elaine, I know that went through your mind immediately, so anyway, no, I watch people, I study people, and when when people come to me and they tell me what's going on in their life, I'm not talking bad about them, okay? I'm just simply explaining how I deal with people, how I help people, and I even when I know the solution, when I know what's wrong, when I have the answer, when I have the answers, I never just pour the answers out to them. Why not? Why do you think that it's not a good idea, that it's actually detrimental to if you know the answers, if you know the solutions or the solution to someone's problems, that it's not a good thing to just pour all of that out on them? Why is that? Think about that. And it's very, very sad. Hey, April, glad you joined us. It's just Elaine and I right now. But what I was talking about is why is it not a good idea, or it's actually bad, if someone comes to you and they have problems and they are they're sad and they're hurting, and it's very, very hard to see someone in pain. But just bear with me. When you, or if you know the solution, if you know the answers to their problems, why is it a bad thing to just pour all those answers out, to give them the solution to their problems and all of that? It is a paradox. And this is something that you should write down, because it's gold. And its truth is that people search for, well, that's true, Elaine. You say you completely overwhelm them, and two, it is their journey they have to go down. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the truth is that people search for the answers. They search for the solution. And when they find it, they're ecstatic. And they say, wow, I found the answer. I found the solution. And this has changed me. This has healed me. This is, I was in the darkness. Now I'm in the light, because I found the answer. I found the solution. That's the answer, or the solution is not what brought you out of the darkness and into the light. It's not what changed you. And what I'm going to say is truth. Questions tell us more than answers ever do. Now think about that. Questions tell us more than answers ever do. So when someone on their journey or their painful trek, when they find the answer, when they find the solution, they're ecstatic. They're praising the answer. They're praising the solution. But that's not what changed them. What changed them was the search, the journey, the pain, the suffering. That's where they were changed, not when they found the answer. All of that, the journey, the pain, was leading them and guiding them to the answer. And that's where credit should be given, theoretically, to the journey, not to the destination. As I've always said, we don't learn anything on the mountaintop. We don't. I mean, once we're on the mountaintop, it's time to kick back, relax, and celebrate. Do we learn anything? No. It's time to celebrate. Why? Because of what you learned in the valley, what you learned in the darkness. It's a training. It is a boot camp. It is honing you. Just like you would sharpen a blade, you are being sharpened. But those who are outcasts, misfits, outsiders, loners, I know that I myself was like that for many, many years. Even when I was a child, I was a loner. And I remember that for so long, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I really didn't. I mean, I would stay to myself and would have very few interactions with anybody besides my siblings at home and parents or whatever. Outside of the home, I just I stayed to myself and didn't speak unless I was spoken to. And when I answered, when I replied, it was very short. And one thing about me and about many others that I've talked to is that we don't engage in small talk. We don't engage in chit chat. And does that hurt us as far as being considered or feeling like we're outcast or that we're outsiders? I guess to some extent it does. But I just cannot. I just can't engage in small talk. My mother, she told me one time. I was at her house. My wife and we were at her house, and her husband, my stepfather, and his friends, they were in the living room and they were having small talk, And it's all, about the weather, and what do you think about the weather? What do you think about those Cowboys and everything? And I'm listening to them and I'm thinking, okay, what are they really saying? Nothing. It's all what they were saying. They were speaking words. There was no meaning. And if you think about it, small talk, chit chat, what is it? It's been rehearsed. You're just speaking the words. And words don't have power, they just have use. It's what's behind the words. And small talk, chit chat, what do you think about the weather? There's nothing behind those words. As I said, they've been rehearsed. For what? For just that. You don't know what to say, so you say something that you've rehearsed. You say something that you've memorized. It has no doubt gone through your mind, oh, what if I can't say anything? You know what? It's perfectly fine. Matter of fact, I would rather have someone not say anything at all than to feel like that they have to somehow entertain me or engage me or um, interact with me when that's the last thing they want to do. A lot of people, they just want to sit and they want to, maybe they just want to sit and they want to relax, they want to daydream, they want to read, whatever. But I never want someone to think that they're doing me a favor by forcing themselves to speak to me when they really don't want to. So, but my mother told me, she said, why don't you go in there and talk with them? And I said, because I said, Mom, I don't know how. And I really don't. I guess you could say to a certain extent that this is, I'm not sure of this, but I would say that I probably would be on or close to the autistic spectrum, or whatever that is. I think that's what it's called. And functioning, but it's very very strange because Mona and my mother and friends, they call me Sheldon, because Sheldon from Big Bang Theory, because I just there's certain things that I just don't understand. There's certain things that I just I can't participate in. Why? Is it because I think that I'm better and higher and too good? Absolutely not. And many people, when they see me maybe being quiet or silent, which many of you have never seen that, they take that as me being arrogant, conceited, or just being a jerk. But that's not the case. It's if I don't have anything to say and I don't know what to say, then I'm going to remain silent rather than to speak because I feel pressured to. I feel compelled to speak because that's what people do. I'm not going to do it because I don't know how. And chances are I would probably say something that would be very, very strange, or, that people would find very, very strange. And that's nothing new for me. And, or it would offend someone when that would not be my intention. But I think that you understand what I'm saying is don't put a person that really they don't know what to do or they don't know how to respond in a situation where they feel they're being forced to do something that they might not understand. And I know it sounds completely crazy, but I have said this on the show many times, that there's things that I understand that many other people, they have no idea what I'm talking about. And I've had many people say, would you speak English? When I'm explaining something or when I'm talking, like, whoa, you're just going right over my head. And But what many people take as simple, um, easy, what's simple and easy for them is very difficult and um, very grueling for me. And what does that lead to? What does it lead to when you see people that are doing things that are pretty simple, or they say they're simple, um, and you see everybody doing it. I mean, everybody's doing certain things. They're doing their day-to-day business, and it's like, well, it's just simple, routine things. Not to everyone, and I would be one of those people. I I take my hat off and I applaud people that stay with their work, that stay with their 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 life work. And when I say that, I'm talking about working through life itself. The daily routine, which, when you think about it, this is the way that I look at it, is that the daily routine, we wake up, we get dressed, we go to work, we eat breakfast, we go to work, we have lunch, we work some more, we go home, we eat again, relax, and we go to sleep. Sleeps the night. And the next morning, the routine starts all over again. It's very monotonous. I mean, that is repetitious. And that's why that many people, you see them and they're going through life like The Walking Dead. They're not there. The lights are on, but no one's home. Why is that? Because they're so set in the routine, the repetition. It has become habit. What is habit? Something that has become embedded within you. You don't even realize you're doing it. And that's what I'm talking about as far as the mindset of misunderstanding what is going on. And I explained that as far as you're different. Does that mean that you're somehow lower, or you're not as good as anyone else? Absolutely not. It just means what it is. You're different. That's all it is. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It's nothing to put yourself down about. You're just different. And there are many people who have been different throughout history. Many famous people. Einstein. I mean, he was different. Many of the popular, Salvador Dali. I mean, he said the only difference between myself and a crazy man. Hey, Patricia, glad you joined us. Salvador Dali said, the only difference between myself and a crazy man is the crazy man does not know that he's crazy. He says, however, I know that I'm crazy. or maybe he used the word insane, which I found very. That's true. I mean, you know, a person that says, "I think I might be insane," that's proof positive they're not. You know, they may be having mental problems, but they're not insane. Because anyone that's insane, that's the last thing that they're going to say. That's the last thing that's going to come into their mind. They're going to basically, they're going to know it all. They're going to have all the answers. They're going to have everything. You know, they're going to be all powerful, and they're not going to have a problem at all, never knowing that they're insane. So, those of you that think that you're losing it or you may be insane, take heart. You're not. So, but anyway, feel free to state comments, ask questions, or whatever. Okay, Elaine, you say, my Sheldon, Britton, and I had a discussion this past weekend about the psychology aspects of rutting. Okay, can you explain that? I'm not sure what that is. Okay, Elaine, you say insanity can also be drug-induced. Well, yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. Dolly was, man, yeah, people say, well, he did that to get publicity. No, he didn't. I mean, the guy was really out there. He was the real deal. I would certainly, if I was ever around Dolly, I mean, you know, of course he's dead now, but I mean, if I was ever around him way back when, you know, I would definitely, I would keep my eye on him because, I mean, man, talk about somebody that just completely unpredictable. Dolly was unpredictable. I mean, just, I don't know, read about Dolly and you'll find out a lot of things that's really, really strange, to say the least, about Dolly and his wife. His wife was, shall we say, different also, very different. Thank you, Elaine. You say rutting is where you are in a rut. You do the same thing day after day after day, and it causes ruts in relationship behaviors. Thank you. That's exactly what I was trying to explain. I think I mangled it pretty good, but that's what I was talking about. Is the repetitious, the cycles that we fall into, and we don't even realize it. We don't realize that we do the same thing every day, over and over and over. And one thing about me is that's something that I just cannot, I can't handle it. I cannot handle that because I can see where that is a repetitious cycle. That is just, it's like Groundhog Day. I can see that. There's minor variations, but it's the daily cycle, and it happens over and over and over. And it may sound strange, but that's what really gives it. Just, I don't know, it freaks me out. You know, go figure. So I guess I'm just weird, but it certainly does. It's you know, it's like it's like hell has been. I think it was in a Stephen King book or Stephen King movie where one of the characters he said, he said, don't you know hell is repetition? And I'm thinking, wow, man, you're right about that. That is that would be my definition of hell, doing the same thing over and over and over. Oh, get me out of there, and because it's I don't know, but Patricia, you say there's a saying out there saying that true insanity comes from doing the same thing over and over and over and then expecting a different reaction. Yes. Matter of fact, that's a quote from Einstein. And it's, yes, he says, doing the same thing, he says, over and over and over, just like you said, he says, and expecting a different result, he says, is crazy. He says you have to change what you're doing, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying tonight, is you have to change your mindset. You have to change what the repetitious cycle, what the that you didn't even know that you were in. And it's like I say, people, they think they're living life when life is living them, if that makes sense. It's like they think that they're in control of their life, and they're not. Life is in control of them. And what it is taking that power back. It's breaking the cycle. It's breaking the chains, being set free. And of course, everyone has heard, the truth will set you free. Well, that's not necessarily true. The truth will set you free. If you don't know it and you don't understand it, it's not gonna avail you much. So anyway, any thoughts on that as far as truth? Truth is power, and that's what I was talking about last night during the show. Is truth and love, that's power. And everyone, I don't care who you are, you need and you want, you desire love. I mean, we all do. Yes, keep it 100%. Be truthful. Be it's like don't sugarcoat things. Don't do it. I mean, be you and be free. And don't try to live your life. So many people are living someone else's life, and that happens because it's the hive mentality. It's the people, they see someone doing something a certain way, and or they see someone and they admire that person so much. Like you have actors, famous people, that they seem like that they're gods, or so powerful and so famous and so loved, and people, they pattern their lives, their very beliefs on these people. And what they're thinking is if I was just like him or I was just like her, people would love me like they love him or they love her. And that's not true. Because the reason why that people who are loved by seemingly everyone, the reason that they're loved the way that they're loved, the reason that they're so popular, and they draw people to them is because they are themselves. They're comfortable being themselves. They have accepted, living true, being true to themselves. They love themselves, and when you do that, when you love yourself, people really they don't have a chance to reject you. Why is that? It's just like one thing that I've noticed in life is, and please don't kill me, okay, Elaine, Patricia, April, but back in the day, whenever I was dating and everything, there would be women that would, girls that they would be, I would think gorgeous. I mean, just, really, really just gorgeous. And I would be interested in them naturally. And they would basically, they would play the oh, you want me, but you can't have me, and that kind of thing. And so it's like, okay, all right, and that's fine. I mean, I get it, I understand it, and so okay, no big deal. I'll just move on. But when those girls that basically rejected me, when they saw me with other girls, or they saw me with girls all around me that were interested in me, guess what? Suddenly they were drawn to me like glue. I mean, just, they couldn't stay away from me. And at that point, it's like, yeah, well, they would be asking me out, and it would be like, yeah, there's just this problem is that when I ask you out, you said no. You shut me down, and now you're interested because you see other girls that are interested in me. So, I'm not sure how that works, but that's what I've experienced, and it's truth. I mean, it really happens. So, it's like they see you as, yes, exactly, Patricia, thank you. Sounds like people want what others want. Jealousy is one hell of a drug. Yes. It's like they didn't want me when they thought that I wasn't wanted. It's like, he's not really a commodity, so let's just move on. But then when they saw that I was somewhat of a commodity, that I was obviously to some extent interesting, they're like, oh, well, got to get these girls away from him. I'm like, no. I don't play that game. So, but anyway, so when you love yourself, that's just like what I just explained. People, they pick up on that. They pick up on that vibration. They pick up on that frequency. You don't have to go around, talking about how much you love yourself and blah blah blah. But when you do, people pick up on that, and it's like when someone loves themselves, when you love yourself, it would be equivalent to having an entourage around you that's just they're all for you, and you're like a rock star, and it is certainly something to keep in mind. I mean, um, I said it's like having an entourage. It would be, I think it's the equivalent of having like 100 people that are just all around you. Because let's face it, there are people that they walk into a place, they um, they take part in different social events or whatever, and they walk in, and if you just looked at them, you know, at their physical appearance, there's not really anything that special about them. I mean, nothing really stands out. But the way they carry themselves, it's just they're like a magnet. That vibration, that frequency draws people to them. Why is that? Because they love themselves. And people, they pick up on that. They feel that. And the person doesn't have to say anything. And I've seen it. I've seen it so many times. Doesn't matter if the person's overweight. Doesn't matter if the person is skin and bones. It doesn't matter if they're if the guy's bald. If the guy has hair down to his waist. Doesn't matter how you're dressed. What matters is how you see yourself. Now think about that. How you see yourself. Remember last night we talked about, and for those of you that weren't part of last night's podcast, we talked about the double slit experiment where the waves turned into particles and vice versa, and that Einstein said that any experiment or any test could never be performed because it would always be compromised. And people are like, compromised by what? And he said, by the observer. And I'm like, well, there's no observer. He says, yes, there is. He says, the ones performing the experiment, the very scientists performing the experiments, they're observing it. And when it's observed, their consciousness changes it. Okay? Well, when we talked last night about the ancient text, the Kabbalah, and the mystical scriptures, or well, not scriptures, but the writings, the knowledge, and things like that. But the Kabbalah, when you get right down to it, the Kabbalah is actually describing how to manipulate reality itself, how to manipulate matter. And when I say matter, I'm talking about, seemingly solid objects that are made up of atoms, correct? And what are we made of? We're made of atoms. Everything. But when you look at what an atom is made of, it's the proton, the neutron, the electron moving so fast
that it appears to be solid. But when you take the mass of an atom, that neutron, that electron, that proton, and you slow it down or you stop it, if that was possible, 99.99% of the atom is empty. It's not there. 99.99%. So when I read that, so many times over and over and over, different places, different literature, I'm thinking, okay, well, 99.99% non-existent is pretty much saying it really doesn't exist. The question is how does it exist? Well, Einstein, in his special theory of relativity, he says, basically, this is very creepy, but it's the truth. And it's creepy because of the power it holds. And Elaine and I were talking last week, or it's been about two weeks ago, about different things. And I told her, I said, I don't really believe that people are afraid so much of being weak or powerless as much as they fear being powerful. That power scares them on some level. So it's not the fear of being powerless, it's the fear of being powerful. Because if you are weak, if you're powerless, it pretty much gives you a ticket, like a free ride. Something happens, well, it's not your responsibility. You can just skate on out because it's not your fault. You didn't have anything to do with it. But if you have power, then whoa, you could be responsible for if something goes wrong. And that's just it. Some people are afraid of responsibility, of answering for their actions, the consequences, facing the consequences for their actions. But that's what power is. So, what Einstein said was, in a nutshell, he said, okay, well, that car you see, that couch, that wall, he said, it's a possibility. It's a possibility. It's atoms that are in the form of, or it's subatomic particles that are in the wave form. What's the wave form? It's a possibility. But this is when you're not looking at it, when you're not observing it. But when you turn around and look at it, when you observe it, the waves become particles. And that possibility becomes reality. Those waves become particles. That possibility becomes reality. The possibility becomes solid. So what does that mean? Not merely observing the world you're in, the life you live, merely observing it, just observing it, you're creating it. Your mind makes it real. Your consciousness makes it real. Now, how amazing is that? Okay, now take that truth and apply it to yourself, your body. Okay? If 99.99% of an atom doesn't exist, and we're made of atoms, our mass, our physical body is made of atoms, which really, they barely exist. And I mean barely, barely, barely exist. What does that mean? It means that what I said at the very start of this episode, to change your life, to become powerful, to become empowered, you must change your mindset. And the mindset has been embedded. And I say that, embedded, just like you would embed a code into a computer program. You know, it's become embedded within you. How do you change that? You reprogram it. You reprogram the code. And you do that by the same way. This is crazy. You do that the same way that it was that the negative or the demeaning, the power sucking, the mindset. You do it the same way. The power taking mindset was embedded within your consciousness by systematic and repetitious actions, cycles, habits that you said, hey, this is just how it is. And so it's like people that have suffered abuse. When the abuse is systematic, when it is over many, many years, or it doesn't really have to be many, many years, it can be acute. It can be something that is so horrible, so powerful that it's embedded within that person. The reaction is embedded within that person. The fear is embedded within that person. And I have been a victim of that very thing, of the systematic, of being like my childhood. I was never physically abused, but it was like the psychological abuse, the emotional abuse. It's like I would have preferred physical abuse, but the psychological abuse was every day. And it was very much like living in a war zone. I mean, just you never knew when, and I'm not gonna say anything, but you never knew when this family member was going to completely go off and completely lose it. And being a child, being a little boy, a little kid, as far back as I can remember, I was like 1 year old and till I was 18. So that was embedded within me at a very early age, that I equated many, many things with violence, with fear, with things being thrown, things being broken, smashed, and yelling and screaming and threats. And what's amazing about that is I thought for the longest time that was just how everybody lived. I mean, I didn't think that it was a problem. Well, that's just how it is. And yeah, it's amazing how our minds will adapt to anything, to, I don't know, somehow comfort us or get us through it so we can survive. And man, it's really eye-opening when you grow up like that and you find out that that's not how everyone is. That's not how every family is. And it's very much a type of mind control. Now, when I say that, I'm not saying that, whoa, I was programmed. I'm talking about I was programmed, but it wasn't like I was strapped to a chair and shown, videos or lights or whatever, that you see in the movies. It was just repetitious behavior, threats of violence, hatred, just, loud noises. Even now, loud noises, I just automatically go into that mode of flight or fight. Just boom, the adrenaline dump, and that's really rough. But anyway, back then, say when I was in my 20s, even my early 30s, I was not much of a talker, not much of a conversationalist. I didn't have much to say, really. And what I'm doing now is I'm talking to many people, and I continue to do so. And it's proof that you can go from that mindset of I'm weak, I'm unloved, I've been forgotten, I don't matter, I'm powerless, to I am loved, I am powerful, I am popular. And even if you're not, pretend you are. And before you know it, that you will begin to feel the effects of changing, reprogramming that mindset, just like you would reprogram a computer. And when I come back, I will explain how that computer programming and the reprogramming of our minds are very, very similar. And this has been proven, and it is very fascinating. So I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we will talk about that. So don't go anywhere. Be back in 3 minutes.
I gotta wait for better days. It's all starting now. It's not too late, we can be saved if we make the time. It's gonna be alright. Had a clue, now I got a feeling. Just gotta hold on tight. Tonight, we're gonna be stronger. This is our fight. We're gonna be stronger. 'Cause every night and every day I want to run and out. It's gonna be alright. Had a clue, now I got a feeling. Just gotta hold on tight. Tonight, tonight, we're gonna be stronger. This is our fight. We're gonna be stronger. We won't back out of this fight. Have no regrets. Just hold your breath and then you'll be stronger. Gotta wait for better days. It's all starting now. It's not too late. We can be saved. We're gonna be stronger. This is our fight. We're gonna be stronger. We won't back out of this fight. Have no regrets. Just hold your breath and then you'll be stronger. We're gonna be stronger. This is our fight. We're gonna be stronger. We won't back out of this fight. Have no regrets. Just hold your breath and then you'll be stronger.
And I am back. Okay, got to catch up on the live chat. Okay, Elaine, you say if you have a gentleman that you are seeing and you are texting them and initiating conversation with them, and you plan to see one another, and he breaks those plans, would not a sane person think that they just were not into you? Well, it depends. I mean, what was his reason for breaking those plans? I mean, if it was something that was legit, I would say not necessarily. I mean, and then you say when confronted, they say they feel like they cannot be themselves around you, and that I'm being unreasonable and asking for better communication. I would say that, I would say that this is it. Okay, they're not. They want an easy ride. They want. Sounds to me like that. You know, I'm not being short. I'm not being rude or anything. It sounds to me like that they want sex. Okay, they want sex and they don't want a relationship. Why do I say that? Because if they wanted a real relationship, they wouldn't say that you were being unreasonable in asking for better communication. They would put forth the effort to communicate with you. And you say, let's see, okay. You say that, Patricia, you say, that just sounds like utter confusion. Yes, it does. And Elaine, you say, also stated that I judged them, and his reason was that he was just doing him. Okay. Also stated that I judged them, and his reason was he was just doing him. Okay, I don't really understand what that means, but maybe you can clarify that.
you say boy chases girl, boy gets girl, and boy doesn't know what the hell to do with girl. Hey, that happens all the time. All the time. Every day. That's right. The thrill of the chase. It's like, yes, when you shouldn't chase what you can't catch, and you shouldn't catch what you can't handle. And so many do it. And you say, but they don't. They don't want sex, okay? All right. They have not had any inkling of sex in over 3 months now. And you say he was doing his thing, his work, and his music, etc. Okay? Well, that's it. That's his relationship. He's already in a relationship with his work and his music. So, yeah. Because if you become involved with someone like that, and you trick yourself, or you deceive yourself into believing that you're in a relationship when you're not, that's not going to lead to anything good. It's just going to lead to whoa. It's going to be basically you're going to be alone, because he's not going to be there. And even when he is, let me just guess, even when he's with you, his mind is not with you. Good. I would too. I'd walk away too. I would walk away and I would shut that door. Yeah. That's just, that's insanity. And it sounds like that he's not confused. He's just made his choice, and it doesn't have anything to do with you. It's him. He made his choice, and I just don't understand why, unless he doesn't even realize it, why that he would even want to engage or want to even pretend that he's in a relationship when he's not willing to communicate, when he's not willing to give. You say, and yeah, he's not there when we are together, always checking his phone about music, told him I was put on the back burner. Exactly. And that is so rude. I mean, that's just sad but true. That's just how it is. I mean, and that's something that happens all the time. All the time. You know, people tell me that they go out on first dates, and I say, well, did you like her? Did you like him? Well, we really didn't talk that much. They were on their phone. I'm like, oh, whoa, cut all ties. First date, and they couldn't put their phone down to learn about you? Yeah, that's telling you that's not marriage material. That is the recipe for what is called hell. Yeah, you do not want to get into that. That will change that will give you a whole new definition of hell, especially if you marry someone like that. Because I'm talking, they just met you. And it doesn't even have to be the first date. It can be, the first few dates, or it can be a year. And they can't put their phone down to go on a date with you and talk with you. They're too busy checking their music or checking their, checking their business or whatever. The only thing that I would, that I would give, that I would understand if it was a doctor or something like that that was checking on his patients. But bar that, no, that's walk away. It says, you say, I'm like, you are setting the relationship up for failure, not success, due to the fact that you keep canceling plans for work and other personal reasons. Then how are we supposed to get to know one another? Well, he's not setting the relationship up for failure. There's not even a relationship. I mean, that ship has sunk. I mean, yeah. And it was sunk before, well, it was sunk as soon as you met. Why? There again, his mindset. His mindset. You're the adult. You're the one that you're interested in getting to know him. You're interested in learning about him. That's right. That's right. Well, you say, I'm judging, though, because I called him out. Well, of course, he's going to say you're judging. Because you did call him out. You didn't, when you say that you called him out, what you're really saying is you confronted him with truth. And that's what I'm saying. Truth is so powerful. You cannot ignore it. You can't get around it. You have to face it. And you either accept it or you reject it. And he rejects it. He lies about it. What does he do? He flips it. You're to blame. You're judging me. No. You're being shown truth and you don't like it, so you lie about it. Yes, he thinks everyone judges. Oh, poor baby. Yet he wants an independent woman who is 100% can't deny truth. What? He wants an independent woman who's 100%. What says you're jealous that a friend that is a girl is coming to time? I don't understand what that. But that is that's true. You cannot deny truth, the truth when presented to him. Oh, okay. That's no problem. Okay, the girl's coming to town. Walk away. Walk away. Matter of fact, run. Get away. Yeah. So, if you're in a relationship, even remotely, and he's acting this way, he doesn't have time for you, and he's absent, then make your presence known by your absence. You don't deserve that. And truth is that's something that many people, they fall into the trap of believing, and this is nothing against you, Elaine, because I've been there, and it sucks. It hurts. When you believe, and this is marriage, I mean, for me, I thought I was in a marriage. I wasn't. And the proof of that is that my wife, if you can even call her that, my wife, she tolerated me. She tolerated me. Or I told her, I said, you don't enjoy me, you endure me. And she says, yeah, that's about right. And I'm like, well, I aim to please, so there you go. Yeah, that's, but that is, there are people that are in the illusion that they're in a relationship. And let me tell you, just because someone calls you every few days or calls you every week, or even when you're married and your spouse, when they get off work, they go out with the guys or they go out with the girls, and they come home every night after you're asleep, after your kids are asleep, and they get up and go to work the next morning and do the same thing. There again, there's that cycle, there's that repetition, there's that, that is being embedded. What is that? Well, that's not a marriage, that's not a relationship, that's being single. Plain and simple. It's believing that you're in a relationship because a piece of paper issued by the state, the government, says that you're married. That does not constitute a marriage. That does not constitute a relationship. And there are many people who are suffering, who are going through exactly what I'm talking about. They feel like they're on the outside looking in. They look at people, they see couples, they see people who have or seemingly have what they want, what they don't have, and it's like they're on the outside looking in, and it's very painful, it's very sad, and it happens all the time. Well, the way that I would answer that as far as a solution or an answer to feeling that way is ask yourself this: do you feel like you're on the outside looking in, or are you actually there? Are you really on the outside looking in? And if you are in a relationship that is nothing more than an illusion, a lie, then you're really on the outside looking in. And you tell yourself that he'll change or she'll change, and you're right. They will change. They'll get worse. So I think you're doing the best thing by walking away. And just, take it with, just take it like it's meant to be taken. Lesson learned. And will the next guy you meet be the same? Maybe. I don't know. Will the next guy you meet be the one? Maybe. I don't know. And that's what sucks about life. If we just knew what was going to happen, wouldn't that be great? You told him that you wanted it over.
Oh, I I wouldn't I wouldn't even tell him, because when you're telling him that you want it over, it sounds like you're asking for his permission, and you don't need his permission. Walk away. That's just empowering him. That's just giving him a boost. Yeah. Don't tell him that you want it over. Just end it, and let him do the math. That's that's empowering him, and he certainly doesn't need that. Okay, you told him that you're done. Okay, well, then carry on. I mean, I'm serious. Then just go and, you know, you told him that you're done, then prove it. And prove it to him when he calls and says, "Well, we can work on this." Well, don't even give him the chance to say we can work on this. You're done. You ended it. When you end it, it's done. Don't give him a chance to even contact you. And then he will learn his lesson, and maybe he won't do the same thing over and over again to different people, different women, and hurt them or waste 3 months of their life. And I don't know. I'm sorry to hear about that, but anyway. Okay, gonna take another short break, and going to when I come back, we got like 20-30 minutes to just chat. But the main thing is, when I come back, I want to share experiences. I want to motivate, I want to uplift, I want to instill within each person listening who may feel like that they're weak, or they're insignificant, or they don't matter, or there's something wrong with them. But I certainly want to build you up, and I don't mean that as in build you up with hot air. I mean, I want to build you up with truth, with facts. And in the next 30 minutes, before we end this episode, I want you to take what I share and what Elaine shares, and if April is still here, if she wants to share something. But it is all about going through the fire, and it's about allowing your negative experiences to empower you, not to bring you down. And I know that that's easier said than done. Like I said, I've been there, and it did bring me down for a long time. And then when I changed my thinking, I changed my mindset, my life changed. And that's what I'm going to talk about when we come back. So, anyway, don't go anywhere. Be right back. Okay, and I'm back. And Elaine, you say, sorry for getting the whole thing off topic, so my apologies. Maybe this will help someone else too. Don't apologize for anything. Um, that's what this episode is about. That's what I wanted it to be about, is to help those who see themselves as not fitting in anywhere, not belonging, being unloved or feeling unloved, being alone, lonely, and them, feeling like that they are forever going to be in the same rut forever. That's just how life is going to be. And that's not so. Things change. And I know it doesn't seem like they do, but they do. One thing is, one comforting thing, although it's not comforting in itself, is that how do we grow? I mean, well, absolutely. You say, I would rather be alone than have a bad relationship. Absolutely. And for the longest time, yours truly here, I thought, well, I would rather have someone to be around than be alone. And I mean, what? Did I say that? Did I really believe that? I did. And I'm like, yeah, that guy is gone. I mean, I had never been alone. I had always been with someone, either married or dating, but I was never, not in a relationship. Just always, I would just move because I didn't want to be alone. Well, 10 years ago, it's been 12 years ago, I came to the point to where that I said, I'm going to force myself to be alone, to live alone, and I had never done that before, but I forced myself to go through that. I did, and I found out that being alone, living alone, not being in a relationship is really not something to fear. I mean, life goes on, and life can be amazing. You don't have to be in a relationship, and the growth that happened, it was like the people that, it was like the women that I was with, that they were preventing my growth. It's not like they were, because the things that they did, and the lies, and the lack of love, the lack of respect, it was a nightmare. So absolutely, alone is just fine. It's a lot better than a bad relationship. You say, I have too many things happening to me that I don't see how I could get into a rut. Hey, we can all get into ruts. No one is immune. But that's just it, is like I said, we don't grow on a mountaintop. We grow in the valley. We grow in the darkness. We grow through our trials and tribulations. We learn from our trials and tribulations. Okay, now this is again how we view it, how we observe it, is do we grow through our victories, or do we grow through our losses? Do we grow through being knocked down? Do we grow through being deceived? And the answer is we grow through being knocked down. We grow through being deceived. We grow through our pain. I mean, no one has ever grown through ecstasy and pleasure. Think about that. I mean, no one has. I mean, there's nothing wrong with ecstasy and pleasure, but you're not growing. Like I said, it is celebrating what you've been through on the mountaintop. The mountaintop itself, it's a killer view, but there's nothing to be learned there. And what goes up must come down. So it's like people say, well, I've been through the darkness. I've been through the valleys. And I'm like, okay, so you're telling me that you're not going to experience that anymore. You're not going to experience loss or pain in your life anymore. And I actually had this person that I was counseling. I finally ended it because this person was absolutely delusional, because she said, I want to end everything. I'm thinking suicide, And I said, oh, no. I said, we don't want to do that. She says, yes, I do. She says, I have hurt enough. I have suffered enough. I have served my time, and I should never have any more pain, any more trials, any more tribulations. She says, because I have been through everything. And I looked at her and I said, are you serious? And she said, yes. She says, that's what I want. That is what I consider being truly overcoming this. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this is bad. Because life is a fight. It's a battle. I mean, sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. And think about this. If you won every battle in life, what would happen? Well, there again, it would be that cycle. It would be that repetition. If you won every battle, life would lose a lot of its meaning. And just because you crash, just because you fall, just because you're knocked down, does not mean that you're defeated. Not at all. It's how you perceive it. It's your perspective on it. And as a matter of fact, you can be knocked down in life. You can be trampled in life. And depending on the way you see that can actually be a victory. If you view it, if you see it, if you observe it. Right, Elaine, coping skills to the trial that you are going through, positive mindset, yes. And people say, oh, positive mindset, that Norman Vincent Peale, no, it's not that. It's not that, not that at all. It's much more.
It's much more focused. It's like comparing the flame of a candle to a laser. That's not easy. That's not easy to have that such a powerful and deep focus. But what I'm telling you is that's what you must do. And it's not impossible. It can be done. Does it come easy? No. Does it take effort? Yes. Okay, don't everyone run. Just because it takes effort doesn't mean it's bad, doesn't mean, I'm not going to do it. Because just the fact that it takes effort should give you a sign that it's something worth having. I mean, would you want to be just given everything on a silver platter and, run along and be happy? Would you learn anything from that? No. You wouldn't learn a thing. And it's unfortunate, but if that happened and you learned nothing, then you would run along your way, somehow believing the lie that you had enough pain in your life, you had served your time, you'd been abused enough, and that you would never be abused again, you would never feel pain again, you would always be happy. And if it was given to you on a silver platter and you learn nothing from it, then it's not a matter of if, it's just a matter of when life's going to hit you with a sledgehammer and you're going to be done. But going through, facing the pain, working through the pain, teaches you, gives you the skills to, like Elaine said, coping skills. I call it not only coping skills, I call it survival. Like when life swings that sledgehammer, or life throws you a punch from hell, you can roll with that punch. You can learn to roll with the punches. And what I mean is, as a boxer, is that in boxing, when someone throws a punch, and they can be the hardest hitter that ever lived, but if you roll with the punch, when the punch touches you, touches your chin or your jaw, you go with it instead of remaining stationary and allowing it to cave in the side of your face or whatever. If you go with it, it takes a lot. It takes most of its power away, because what are they actually hitting? They're not hitting you. They're merely touching you, and they're basically hitting air. So, and that's what, life is. You going through the pain, going through the experiences, the unpleasant experiences. It's like you develop reflexes, just like in boxing. And it's like, when a guy would throw a punch at me, did I have to think about moving or rolling with that punch or ducking or getting out of the way? No, it just happened. How does that happen? Training. And there again, what's training? It's a repetition. It's just a different type of repetition. It's a positive. It's meant to empower you, not to weaken you. And after a while, that repetition, that positive repetition, becomes
it's your reflex. You don't have to think about it. You just do it. Much like the negative now that you've been trained, not even knowing that you were being trained. You've been trained to react and to fear certain things and to see yourself in a certain way to weaken you. You have been trained. And that's what I'm saying is the key is to retrain your mind, your psyche, to retrain it in the same method that it was trained in the first place. So, those of you that are interested in learning more about these, the way to do that, and I don't really have a set program or rules or anything about that, because everyone's different. What works for one person may not work for someone else. But if you're interested and want to know more about that, please contact me at the texarcistpodcast@gmail.com and let me know what you're going through, and let me know what you've been through, and that will better tell me how you've been trained and how deep the training is. How deep you've been, how deep it's been embedded. And just a general, your age, if you're married, single, divorced, the more information that you can give me, the better I can help you. Knowledge is power. And also, if you have ideas and topics for future episodes, please contact me with those. I would appreciate it. Okay. Lane, you say you can contact me as well on Facebook through texting. Absolutely. It's please, those of you that are regular listeners, and even those of you who are new listeners, please put your minds to work and come up with topics that you want to hear discussed, that you want to discuss. And if you want to be a guest by phone on the show, please send me an email with your contact information, and I will call you and we'll talk, and maybe that can happen. I mean, that would be great. One thing is we all learn from each other. We all learn from each other, and the more of us that can come together and talk about these things and discuss these things like we did tonight, we will be that much more empowered. And who knows? Not even start a movement. I mean, because there are so many people, and I didn't know. I knew that there were people that felt like they didn't belong, or felt like they were on the outside looking in, or felt like that they were outcasts. I knew there were people like that, that felt like that, but I did not know how many people felt like that and suffering because of it. And that's why that I chose this topic for tonight's episode, because
that's something that that really bothers me is to see people hurting and suffering, thinking that there's no hope. What am I going to do? Someone that's been through it, someone who came out and overcame it. Am I going to just sit back and just be silent and just watch them or listen to them and just let the cards fall where they may? Absolutely not. I'm going to take action, and I just want you to know that I am here if you need me. Even if I don't know you, you can contact me, or again, thetexorcist@gmail.com, and I have the show line. It's actually a Skype line, and send me an email, and I will give you that number, and we can talk. I will call you, or you can call me if you're comfortable doing so. We can talk. But the main thing is remember, and never forget, you are not alone. You are not alone. As much as it seems like you are, there are people that you don't know, but they're just friends you haven't met yet. They're family you haven't met yet, and they care about you. And I'm one of them. So I'm just telling you that you can contact me day or night, and I will respond. I will reply as soon as possible, and I'll do what I can do to help you. And if I can't, then I'll find someone who can. So, would you please do me a favor, and if you enjoy the show, if you like the show, please hit that like button, and please follow me on Spreaker. I need 100 listeners to be eligible for iTunes, and once I'm on iTunes, we'll reach a lot more people and be able to help more people and uplift more people, and just have more like-minded people all the way around. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it. Anyway, good night from Texas. Oh, and by the way, tomorrow night, Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central, I will be on the YouTube channel, The Texorcist Podcast, The Texorcist Live Podcast YouTube channel, live video. So, at 9 o'clock Central. So, if you're able and interested, please join me there, and we'll have a great time. Love and light to you all. Love you all. Good night from Texas. See you next time.